Coach, I think we all, through watching ESPN or whatever, we get the idea what an offensive play caller does. You run a draw play or whatever in a certain situation. Is a defensive coordinator, do you run through the same choices as in calling your coverages or whatever?
Yeah, so as a defensive coordinator, there's a lot of work that goes into what we're going to do on Saturday way before Saturday ever gets there. You'll notice, I think, when you look at defensive coordinators, they have a lot less hair than offensive coordinators, especially the way football is today, because you see teams come out, especially in our league, and you'll see them being, no backs, and then two backs, and then one back, and one tight end, two tight end, and three tight end, three backs, whatever the different formations dictate there. So throughout the week, we do a lot of work as far as watching tendencies, as far as watching what they do, this part of the field, this down and distance, and our calls come based off of what we've seen, on their film throughout, the first part of the season. We do a ton of work studying tendencies. We do a lot of what we do is called based off of their formation and their backfield set, where that's at. But then you get people that come out and they flip the back, right before the play starts.
How does that happen though? Because offenses call their play and they go to the line of scrimmage. You got to wait till they line up to make that call. How do you do that?
We do. I have a great group of assistants. Our eyes in the press box and our eyes on the field as well. And on the headset, we're communicating who's in the game. Their personnel groups is how we communicate it. So 10 personnel is one back, 0 tight ends. So our eyes in the press box, we have two coaches up there that tell me basically, hey, they're in 10 personnel, they're in 11 personnel, they're in 12 personnel. And from there, I can limit, when I know the personnel, I can limit the formations that they're going to be in by what we've seen. Okay, out of 10 personnel, they're in these three formations. So then in my head, I've got a call that can fit all of those formations. And then if I see something different, obviously, as they line up, we have a check system on the sideline. So our players will look to me before the snap, and I'll give them a signal whether to play that call or we're going to change it based off of what I'm seeing. So we have kind of a first call that we're 90% sure we're going to really like, and if they come out with something crazy, then we'll change it. But we've tried to match. You see so many no-huddle offenses. We've tried to be a no-huddle defense and run it really the same. That's why you see us with a wristband sometimes. We've tried to match the way the offense calls, to make it a even, fair playing field for us.
Has the spread offense changed the game, or has it just been a change like the evolution of anything?
Yeah, I think it's just like a change like the evolution of anything. And honestly, I think you'll start to see it. I think you'll start to see it come full circle. You're seeing teams use a fullback now again at times. You're seeing teams use two tight ends again at times. So I think, everybody now, a lot of offenses try to do everything. But I think that you'll see it come back around, and then it'll probably go back to spread. But you're seeing less and less tempo. A few years ago, whenever Oregon was really tempo and everybody was trying to really tempo, you really don't see a lot of tempo.
Wishbone coming up, you think?
Who knows? I hope not.
Those were the days.
Yeah.
That's when I was a kid.
Yeah.
And speaking about being a kid, where did you grow up?
Yeah, I grew up in Chillicothe, Missouri, just up the road from Liberty, about an hour, really right in between Liberty and Kirksville is where I grew up. So most of my family still lives there, born and raised there. Went to school all my years there, graduated from high school there.
Trent Figg is our guest here at halftime, and the reason I bring that up is you were not only a student but an athlete here, played football here. You were saying you were kind of a jack of all trades during your athletic career on the football team.
Yeah, jack of all trades, master of none. I would definitely say I came to Jewell as a cornerback, and then I moved to safety, and then to outside backer, and then back to safety, and kind of back and forth through there. So I think that experience was actually it really frustrated me at the time when I was playing because I couldn't really find a true fit. But at the end of the day, I think it really helped me in my career now because I think I understand the game, from the front seven and also from the secondary standpoint. So I think at the end of the day, it was a blessing in disguise to do all that.
After you graduated, what happened then?
Yeah, so after I graduated, I started coaching right away.
Here?
At Jewell. Yeah, so I have a teaching degree, so I started teaching in Richmond, Missouri, and my principal was gracious enough to allow me to leave early every day so I could come basically volunteer here. So I did that for a year and a half. Then we had a coaching change, and the new head coach asked me to come on as a graduate assistant. So I did that for about a year and a half. Then I was full-time for 3 years at Jewell, worked on both the offensive side and the defensive side. Coached running backs, coached the secondary, coached the linebackers. Then I left for 2 years, went to Arizona State as a defensive assistant, and then I went to Southern Arkansas University and I coached the secondary there, and also coordinated the special teams. Then when Coach Waggle got the job, he called me, and I was lucky to be able to come back here as the defensive coordinator.
Well, let's talk about Arizona State, because that catches my ear every
Yeah.
time I hear it. That's a big-time program. What was
Yeah.
your experience like there?
It was tremendous there. I worked. I was a defensive assistant, so I really worked with all the defensive coaches, primarily with the head coach, Coach Todd Graham. He called the defense whenever I was out there. So I was one of his assistants and did a lot with him, and he was awesome to Tori and I. Learned a ton from him, just about football obviously, but life in general, program management in general. Whenever I was out there, we won 10 games and won the Pac-12 South. So I got to see winning at the highest level and really be a part of it. I mean, I was with him, 20 hours a day most of the time, seeing the ins and outs of everything that we were doing there. So a lot of the way that I have kind of built our play calling system comes from him. I mean, he had the check system on the sideline, where he could check formations and things like that. So a lot of things that we do from a communication standpoint come from there. Scheme looks a little bit different just because we have a different type of player that we had there. But that's the best thing I've done for myself for my career at this point.
Talking about different kinds of players, do you predicate your defense on the players you have
Definitely.
that year?
I think you see our defense looks a little bit different this year than it did last year, based off of some of the guys that we lost from last year and that we gained from this year.
Right.
So every year it's going to look a little bit different, whether that's front wise, whether that's coverage wise. We're definitely going to mold what we're doing to the personnel that we have.
Trent, who's had a good year for you this year?
Yeah, one person that's really stood out to me is Christian Hunt on the defensive line. And he may be a guy that you don't always hear his name, but he does everything we ask him to do. Cordell Upshaw is our new defensive line coach, and he does a great job. Honestly, those guys up front, Keir Stamp, Colin Heller has come so far this year. Those guys up front, and then we asked Colby Finnewold to move down into the box and play linebacker. He's done a great job with that, with Zach Haynes being there beside him. Justice Taylor has completely changed his body on the edge and is doing some good things at corner. And then, we've got Orlando and McQuigg and Mo that'll rotate at that other corner, and they've done some good things as well. And then, Pence has been back there for a long time at safety, and he's just really steady with what he does. And Isaac Dozier makes plays everywhere.
Yes.
He's got a ton of tackles. We put him in the box. We ask him to play coverage. He's kind of our hybrid guy this year. So those guys have done a good job of doing what we ask them to do. And I'll say this, their effort across the board, I can't be more proud of them. We sit here and I'll look them straight in the eyes and tell them none of us had any idea that our record was going to be what it is right now, and it tears me up every day for the players that it is what it is. But those guys don't quit. I think you can see that our whole team. I mean, we throw an interception and Trey Mask is running a guy down 40 yards down the field. That shows me right there that the guys, they believe in what's going on. They're doing it for each other because they love the game.
Trent Figg is our guest here at halftime, and I want to congratulate you. You were the defensive coach of the year in the nation after your first defensive play this year. When Fenwell picked off the first pass, the first play from scrimmage, took it back for a touchdown. I thought you had it right there.
Yeah, so did I.
Now I don't know how the voting has gotten since, but that was quite a way to start the season. You ever been through something like that before?
I have not. That was really exciting. I was really excited for Kobe when that happened, and I had after that happened, the guys were all so excited. I said, "Hey guys, you know that we're going to kick off and go right back out on defense, right?" So
play two, maybe not quite as successful, but how
right? No, that was a great way to start.
Did you letter in football here?
I did.
All right, and so was that the best prize you got out of Jewell, or perhaps maybe it was your wife Tori? Tori Hallett was a tremendous volleyball player here, and you ended up marrying her.
She was. Everybody tells me that I definitely outkicked my coverage there, so I would definitely have to agree. In coaching, it's so important if you're married that you're married to someone that understands the profession, and she gets it like no one I've ever seen before. She supports it. She gets it. This is an extension of our family. Jewell football is, and what athletics do, what they did for me whenever I was in college, I wouldn't have come to Jewell for football, and that's being completely honest. I got a great education while I was here, but I came to Jewell because of football, and so many of our guys do that, and they end up leaving with a great education, and they're able to go do great things. But I believe it's because of what football does for them. They learn so many things. Football, we've got 110 guys on our team. That's the biggest class on campus. the football field is the biggest classroom on campus, and what those guys learn out there, they learn discipline, they learn time management, they learn how to communicate with people, they learn how to, be a part of a team and work together, and they learn great things up on the hill in class. But what they learn on the field with us, I think that employers absolutely love when guys have been a part of a team. And the experience, our goal is for playing college football to be the best experience of our guys' life. And that's what we really try to do. We take pride in making sure they have a balance in their life. We don't keep them for, 15, 16 hours a day with football. We make sure that they've got that balance in their life. But at the same time, we know how important football is to them. When they come on visits, they're coming on a football visit. They're not coming on a school visit. They're coming on a football visit. And we take a lot of pride in that.
I'm going to ask you a tough question. It's totally an unfair question. I'm going to ask it anyway because I don't care. Is the experience tainted a little bit because you don't win more? Do you think kids that from winning programs have a better experience?
I think that question could go both ways. I think that while they're there, no kid comes to college to play football to lose. No kid does that. They absolutely don't do that. We work our hardest to make sure they're having a great experience. Now, when you're winning, it's a lot easier. That's the honest answer. Our kids, when they leave here, they leave with their best friends for life. Whenever I was a player here, I never had a losing record. We never won a conference championship, but I never had a losing record. My best friends to this day are the guys that I played college football with. So now, at the end of the day, whenever you can wear a conference championship ring, a national championship ring for the rest of your life, that's a big deal. And that's a conversation piece, that just adds to the great experience that our players have. So the more you can win on the field, the better the experience is going to be. After those kids graduate, they've made friends for life because of the culture that we have here. And we see guys come back all the time, and they're with all their college buddies that they played football with. Like I said, they come here to get a great education, but our kids that are on our team come here to play football because they've got the opportunity to play college football at the Division II level, and they think that that's an awesome deal, and we're going to provide them with the best experience that we can.
That's Trent Figg. He's the defensive coordinator for Jewell football. Thank you so much for visiting with us. And I'll use a defensive term. You're one of the guys that sets the edge around here.
I appreciate it.
In terms of hard work and all of those things. And we'll be back with more in just a moment.